All right. So this is Paulie Rhyme, and this is the educator segment of the podcast chat conversation. And yeah, check out the artist segment. Also, check out the parent segment. And so today, because it is the last week of our school, and just to give you some background, I am an educator. I have a multi-subject credential or certificate from Cal State Teach, which is in the Bay Area. And then I got my master's in adult education from Cleveland State. Long story short, was in Cleveland, moved to the Bay Area. Now I live in Japan for about 8 or 9 years. I was working at an international school in Hoshigaki called AIS for about 5 years. And in that interim, it was always, not interim, but even before we moved here, it was always a dream to start our own school. And so we were able to start our own school. So after about 5 years of being at an international school in Nagoya, moved, I was living in Handa, but then started the business via camps. And so talk a little bit about that. So we started our business about, 8 years ago with the winter camp. So as we are going into next week, we're going into our winter camp. This is kind of our anniversary of starting the business. And for people who are interested in teaching in Japan, and I think teaching overseas, there's some overlap. And looking to start a business, this is a good conversation to listen to, comment on, ask questions. And so, so started about 8 years ago with winter camps, rented out a space, which there are locally spaces that you can rent out, just like a hall or something like that, relatively cheap, especially if you live outside the city. So I live in Handa, which is about the size of Akron, Ohio, so about 100,000 people or more, give or take. And I don't know, maybe Akron is bigger now, but when I was growing up, it was about that size. So Handa is a suburb about 30 minutes south of Nagoya, my wife's hometown. And yeah, we started out with winter camps. Can't remember the exact number, but I think we had about 20 students. Maya at the time was going to Yochin, and we were able to meet some families in the area. People, oh yeah, y'all moved here from states, y'all should, Paul's a teacher, and he works at international school. Y'all should throw some winter camps, teach English, try it out. So we tried it out, and the first time it was fun. We had a good response through our network and through just passing out flyers. One thing you'll know in Japan, that still canvassing and passing out flyers is like the 90s in that way. You can drum up some business by just beating the streets, and hitting the streets with a purpose. So yeah, we did that. Did our first winter camp, and then from there we started to do some private lessons. Like I said, I was still teaching. This is even before she was teaching a little bit, but really got into it because mostly she was translating. And then did a winter camp, got a couple of students, did a summer camp, and just kept doing that while I was teaching at the international school. Finally built up enough clientele to where it got a little bit too big for our situation, whether it was renting or doing private lessons at the house. And then we got our own space, and Itoko was able to set up a business. And so I've seen it that way, where obviously I'm married to a Japanese woman, so we're able to set up a business that way. I became an entrepreneur. I'll get the right Japanese terminology in the comments somewhere. And we rented a retail space right above a hip hop dance studio, which was very convenient, not too far from the house. And I was still working full time. Itoko was taking on most of the lessons. I was doing lessons on the weekends or at night, building clientele. And then I decided to make the move full time to the school. And so currently I'm working just at our school, and I've been there, I guess, 3 years. And we have about 60 students. And So I work there, Itoko works there. We are moving along, and it's been pretty good. And I think that that's like a good way to start for people. So my advice is definitely start with camps. Unless you have a situation like some people I know have bought businesses already established. Some people are in areas where they get immediate like surge of clientele. They're able to open up. I've seen people who have cafes and then they've turned that into an English situation, and people who also are into sports or music, so they use that. So actually, I've also done that. I've had hip hop classes. I've been able to grow my business in other ways. I do basketball camps, and so I'm able to do an English bilingual basketball camp with just networking and meeting people. So it's definitely possible. And then in terms of setting up your winter camp, I would first do it from a standpoint of you're going to have three types of groups, right? You're going to have a group of kids who have no English base. It's their first experience. Their parents are really just wanting them to experience being around a teacher, being in an all English environment. So having activities for those kids where it's fun. I mean, it should be fun for everyone, but it's simple enough for them to participate. And they can, if you are lucky, you have some kids who are fluent and they can kind of work together and navigate in small groups. And then when you do whole groups, you can provide support and positioning them in a place where you can also provide support. I'm also lucky in that way that we hire people sometimes, especially in summer camps, because summer camps tend to be bigger. So then it's probably two people and we're bouncing off each other, or me and Itoko are working in tandem. So yeah, so you have that group, no English, and then you have a group, maybe middle school or elementary, where they know basics, but maybe they don't write as much, or they have, a sort of fear. Sometimes kids are just afraid to speak. They're like, oh, I know a little bit. And so making sure you have activities, but once they see the other kids and they know they're kind of in the middle, they tend to be more risk takers and jump in there. And then you have kids who are either returnees, your regular kids, or kids you teach, or advanced students. So for example, in Handa, we have a few English preschools. And then we do have returnee kids, either families working at different companies. And there are a lot of companies in Aichi who send parents and families overseas for a couple years. So then those kids either grow up there, they're born overseas, and they come back and they want to continue their English because they are fluent or somewhat fluent, or their family is fluent, the parents speak English. And so just planning with that in mind. So not making it just simple, not making it just in the middle, not making it too advanced, but having a series of activities that allow for any kids to participate. And that's like basic teaching to, at least from where I'm from. So teaching, having three groups, thinking about the, lower group. I don't like to call them lower group, but the lower group, the medium group, and the higher group. And having like basic activities, a base of activities, not basic, but a base, and then extensions to go either way. We have a lot of board games. We have library time. Those things are very important. You don't want to just be too, oh, here you go, academic. Everything has an opportunity for learning. So use things that you like. So I like music, so we play a lot of music. I love board games, so we have board game times. I love books, so we have a library. Even when I was just doing the camps, we were able to set up different stations, and stations are also helpful to have the kids have time to move through different things. And then you get to see what kids are interested in. You get to see how you can, as a teacher, be flexible and move things along, so that at the end of the day, the kid feels like, oh, I accomplished something. This was fun. It was a little bit challenging. It wasn't too easy. I want to come back. And that's a big part of our success in that we have made things not too hard, challenging, giving the kid an opportunity to have fun and leave there like, yo, this was different. This was good. I want to try it again. Right. And that should be the ultimate goal, is kids want to come back and try it again. We've had more than a few experiences where kids have come for one day and they end up staying for the whole week. And that is definitely a success. And some kids don't have time to do that, but they end up coming back and they want to take lessons. So yeah, so just think about it like that. Make it child-centered. Make it fun and challenging. Don't make it, it shouldn't just be a free-for-all. And I do think, we did hand clap games. We've had songs. We've done plays, like little plays. And also we always have art activities. And so everybody feels like there's something for them. We've also moved into STEAM. So if you have STEAM activities, you have an interest in that, that's also something you can do. Just try to do things that you feel are an experience that you are bringing to them. And I think you'll be successful in that. So, these conversations are going to continue, just starting there. Like I said, it's winter time and we're about to do winter camp. So I wanted to kind of start with that conversation. So yeah, leave some comments, like, subscribe. Let me know what you want to hear in these little blurbs and conversations, and we'll keep it moving. Peace.